Alright, hey everyone, my name is Chloe Hack. I'm one of your tech directors for the 2020-2021 school year, and this is going to be the beginning to a series of videos I'm going to make that are going to be about stage management as well as other areas of tech. So today we're going to be going over an area of stage management, which is how to make a schedule. So let's begin. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to be going over, as I mentioned, is how to make a schedule. And so the first thing I like to start with when making a schedule is a document. This document should be a working document. It should be something that you can edit constantly as you get more information, something you can work on a lot, and something that you can access really easily. So here is an example of a schedule from the week of October 7th, 2019, while I was the stage manager of It's a Wonderful Life, and it goes over the 2 days we had rehearsal that week. So as you can see, it's broken down into the week. So we have the week of 10/7, and we have then Monday 10/7, and we have what we're going to be doing at rehearsal, which is blocking, what we're going to be going over at rehearsal, which is later pages 7 to 15, and the time of rehearsal. So this would be your first line so that you can kind of visually see, okay, here's what we're going to be doing and going over in the time we have. The next line that I used would be who's going to be called to the rehearsal, and I usually just put character names instead of people, so that because everyone knew who they played, and eventually after stage managing a show for so long, you start to know, okay, this person is this person, and it's just easier to use their character names. This CL stands for Clarence. If you want to, you can use abbreviations like this. So for example, if you wanted to, instead of writing out the character names, you could always just do GW for Gower or something along those lines instead of writing out the character names. I don't use abbreviations when it comes to scheduling just because I like to kind of see it spelled out for me so I know exactly who to call and exactly know who has to be there. So then after you kind of have it broken down into what you're doing and going over, who's called, the next thing you're going to want to write down are conflicts. So who and what characters cannot be there. So on this day, this person had to leave at 4, so did this person, and this person had to be gone from 2 to 3 but could come back. So that's kind of a visual representation of how to write a schedule down and how to kind of organize it. And this would be for a rehearsal that only included actors. This is just an acting rehearsal. So if you needed to include tech, the next thing you could do would be you could go over tech. You could just label it tech rehearsal or tech needed. List your tech crews that were needed. Say you needed lighting crew and sound crew. And then underneath of that, you could do the conflicts. And let's say, Nick has to leave at 4. So that would kind of be how you would add tech. And if you wanted to, you could also detail what needed to get done that day. So you could say, okay, lighting needs to work on the plot and etc. Again, when you're a stage manager, sometimes you don't always know what every tech crew is going to be doing every day because they work at their own pace, but if you have a basic idea, you could always detail it, or if you have something you have to go over with them or any notes, that's another thing you could add on the little schedule is stuff that you have to go over as a stage manager. So say this day as a stage manager, I also had to go over contracts, which we'll probably do another video on how to structure a contract. You could say in a little notes section, notes, go over contract, collect signed forms. So this could be something to put in your rehearsal schedule are little notes for yourself that you have to do during rehearsal or things that need to get done. You could also include stuff like, go over this with this cast member, talk to the director about this, so on and so forth. Your notes section can be anything that you need to do or go over or remember. Again, I like to keep this document just for myself. I wouldn't share this with anyone because it's constantly changing, and I don't want one person to see one version of it and think they aren't called, and then a new version gets changed and then they are called. In order to prevent that, usually I would have this ready, and then by the at the beginning of the week, so say Sunday before this week, I would send out, okay, here's what we're doing on Monday and Wednesday, and here's who is called those days. The next thing you would do is I basically put a simplified version of this information into a calendar that I would send out to the cast and crew. So here is an example of the calendar. I use Canva to make all my calendars because you can make them pretty and kind of include lots of information on them. So here would be that week that we were referencing. Again, I don't include as much detailed information on here as I do on my personal schedule. So on here I would just include what we're doing and what we're going over. So for example, on this day we were doing pages 7 to 16, blocking from 2 to 4:30, something along those lines. And then again, when it got time for tech to be included, you could write down, okay, lighting and stuff is needed. Again, I didn't do that on this one because, as you can see, this was the cast calendar, but I have that written down on a separate calendar that I made specifically for the crew so that people wouldn't get confused on what was happening every day. So yeah, that's kind of a basic breakdown of like how I did my rehearsal schedules and my calendars. Again, every stage manager is slightly different. If you find that these methods don't work for you, you can always work on formulating your own like templates. Again, this is just the basic information that you should include in a rehearsal schedule. You should include what you're doing, the pages you're going over, or songs you're covering if it's a music rehearsal or a choreo rehearsal, the time you're going to be there, who is needed, whether that be you list them as characters or actual people, any notes that you need to include. You should definitely mark conflicts on your rehearsal schedule, and then same ideas for tech. Another thing, so if, let's say you need to add a choreo rehearsal. So let's say this was Thursday, 10:10. Not that this is, of course, the schedule that I made for a play. So, of course, we wouldn't have a choreo rehearsal, but let's say you have to make a choreo, something for choreo. It would look similar, but you would say choreo, and then you would list the songs you were going over. So let's say we were going over Step in Time, because that's from Mary Poppins, which I was ASM of. So you could say Step in Time, and then you would say the time that you're going to be doing it. So let's say we're going from 2 to 6, and then you would list the people. So in this case it would be Mary, Bert, Jane, the little boy whose name I can't remember right now, so I'll just write little boy. Oh, Michael, Jane and Michael. And then usually you would write like ensemble, and then you could detail who in the ensemble that means. So let's say you have person A, B, C, D, E, F, continue, and since these people don't have character names, you would just write the actors. In the case of Mary Poppins, we had a list of people who were in this act, and they were the chimney sweeps, so I would just write chimney sweeps, and those would be who were called that day. And then again, same idea. Let's say you have notes to go over, and you say you want to talk about proper footwear, jazz boots, and that's a note you want to make, and then you would add conflicts, and that would kind of be how you would formulate a choreo rehearsal. Again, similar for like music rehearsals, you would instead of choreo write like music, and then you would again write the songs you're covering, and you could always italicize the songs so you kind of know that they're songs compared to pages or scenes. And yeah, so that's kind of how you would formulate a schedule, and then you would put it over here onto your calendar that you can send out to the cast. Again, you got to make sure that these are working documents that can easily be changed and edited, because things happen. If you find out that, hey, on this day we were going to block multiple scenes that have the main character, but the main character can't make it, then you got to edit something and change and reschedule. And that's why communication is also super important, in having a steady amount of communication between you and your actors, as well as you and the director, so that there's no miscommunication. Everyone knows where they have to be and when they have to be there. So yeah, that is all on making a schedule. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the tech directors, whether that be me or future tech directors, or you can reach out to Mrs. Timberlake with any questions. Thanks for watching.